All right, we should be going shortly.
I guess I'm right on time.
You are.
All right, let's see. All right, here we are. Hello, everyone. We are here for another Nonprofit Enthusiast Live. I am so excited to have Shontae Jackson with Subliminal Dreamz with us today. Hi, Shontae.
Good morning. Thank you for having me this morning.
Yes, we're looking forward to learning more about Subliminal Dreamz, and then also talking about the area of this month's theme of marketing and public relations, and some of the things that you've learned along your journey with your nonprofit organization. But before we get started, we're gonna allow some time for others, for those that want to tune in to join us. Go ahead and invite your friends from the into the Facebook group, tag them in the live so that they can join us today. If you're catching us on replay, give us a hashtag replay in the chat box and let us know that you are here. So we're going to give it a few minutes before we get started. Let me get into the chat and see what's going on. Okay, we have Michelle. Good morning, Michelle. Thank you for tuning in. Hi, Ann. Thank you for joining us. Please go ahead and tag members of the group. If they're not members of the group, invite them into the group so that they can join on this conversation and future conversations that we have through Nonprofit Enthusiast Live.
Tag. Send link.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, here we go. We're gonna get started. We'll give it a few minutes. In the meanwhile, also, as we wait, I want to say a special thanks to this month's sponsor. So Jalen Christie, who is a great friend of mine and will be joining us on the live this month, is serving as this month's marketing and public relations sponsor for these sessions this month. So please make sure that you check him out. He is an award-winning writer, actor, cartoonist, motivational speaker, and public relations expert. When he comes on, we'll talk about our journey and how both of us met in the nonprofit arena while he was doing public relations, and he continues to do that. And he's going to talk a little bit about, give you some tips about public relations for nonprofits. So he'll be joining us. Go ahead and check him out. We'll drop the links in the chat box. Let's see. We'll go ahead and get started. We'll give it a few more minutes. And don't forget, if the individual is not in the group, go ahead and invite them in the group. We'll let them in and tag them so that way they can view the videos. I see, Shontae, you're doing some tagging. Just go ahead and invite them to the group and we will let them in so they can tune in, okay?
Got it.
Got it. Okay.
Definitely need it.
I just understand.
All right, here we go. I see some requests coming in. All right, perfect. So we see it coming in. All right, we see, and I do see some other tagging. You all are inviting others into the group. So what we're doing right now is going ahead and approving them to come in. So that way they can tune in on today's live. So that's what's happening. I do see a few tags. All right, y'all, I see you, I see you. This is awesome. Okay, I think we got everyone. Yeah, so we'll be approving throughout to make sure that they can join. Here we go. I see some more coming in. Okay, here we go. All right, there we go. I think we got everyone. All right, let me get my view back up over here. Give me 1 second, you all. My camera has changed on me and I'm trying to make sure I can see everybody. Chat box. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so thank you once again, everyone, for joining us. Again, go ahead and invite others into the group if they're not, so that they can tune in, and we'll continue to let them in throughout. If you're catching this on replay, again, give us a hashtag replay in the chat box. So let's go ahead and get started. So again, Shontae, thank you so much for joining us. Let's start out with you just telling us about yourself.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having and tuning in with us this morning. My name is Shontae, but I go by Tay, and I own and I'm the owner and founder of Subliminal Dreamz Incorporated. It's a nonprofit organization in Jacksonville, Florida. I am 36 years young. I have 2 fur babies, and I have been in the education field for over 20 years.
Sorry about that. All right, so tell us a little bit about your organization, Shontae.
So my organization was founded, well, the original thought came about in 2020, but it was incorporated and founded in 2021 after the loss of my stepson. So my nonprofit organization was based off of grief, but it was turned into a passion of helping others with mental issues and those that experience trauma. So my nonprofit is geared towards helping young men 8 to 25 with mental issues by exposing them to different humanities that they typically would not be exposed to. That's art, that's mental health, that's physical health, that's spiritual, that's the holistic being of the male. Is what my program is geared towards, is giving them resources and a platform for them to be able to be heard, be cared for, be nurtured. The goal is to change a life, save a life.
Wow. So I know you started in 2021, but you've been on fire. So tell me, like, how has your first year, like when, tell me about the whole starting, I know the organization. So 2021, you started the organization. How has that year been for you?
Whew, man, it has been one of the best years that I will not take away. It's been very, very fast. I can't believe that the organization has been operational for a year already. It's been amazing, in between the community investments, in between the growing, the paperwork aspect of it, the building my team, the putting the vision together. My vision has changed so many times over this last year. My logo's changed, my website has changed. So it was really just getting that idea when I first had it and running with it, but then developing the team that really helped me put it together for the future and what I really had planned for it. Running a nonprofit is I'm not going to say it's brutal, but it's definitely not for the weak. You have to have a real passion for what it is that you're doing. You have to really be a selfless person. And because I already possessed many of those skills, it wasn't hard for me to figure out what kind of business I wanted to operate, but it definitely put me in a different platform now that I actually have something that represents me and who I am.
Yeah, starting a nonprofit is not easy. And it's so funny because I've met with several, people that have, like, let's say for-profit businesses. And once they get into the nonprofit arena, they're like, it's not the same. And it's not. Running a nonprofit has, so much different aspects to it. So hats off for you for starting the journey and continuing the journey. So I want to talk about some of your wins, because I know before we got on the call and you were sharing some of those. So what has been some of your wins over the last year?
Oh man, I think my sponsorships has been like the best thing. One of the things that I took upon myself to start a nonprofit was preparing myself mentally to know that this is not a financial windfall. So being that was my biggest thing that I knew going into it, demanding money or expecting money wasn't something that I look forward to. I wanted to establish my nonprofit in a different way. So I went after sponsors. I developed a template and I just started hitting all of the sponsors that I knew I wanted to be directly attached to my nonprofit. So being able to have sponsors like Publix and Blaze Pizzas, and to have my partnership with Panera's that gives me food to go into the community and be able to feed them, getting that sponsorship from our sports program, the Jumbo Sharks or the Jumbo Shrimps. Getting those partnerships and those sponsorships in the early infancy of my nonprofit is huge, because these are people that I can go back to when my program is getting bigger and ask for more partnerships, more sponsorships to help my programs grow. I was able to get my first grant. It was just, for me, the first year was just full of successful wins. And it was definitely due to me just being proactive and reaching out to those businesses and those sponsorships and saying, hey, I have a program and I think you should be a part of it. Tell me what you can give me. It wasn't me asking. It was, I know that you have something that you can give to me. What is it? And I wasn't disappointed.
So I want to talk in a second about the grant that you recently won, but first I wanted to back up, because when you were talking about going into the field and thinking about, you knew going in, it wasn't about the finances. I myself, back in 2012, when I was starting my nonprofit organization, I remember talking to my husband and telling him, yeah, you're gonna have to you're gonna have to be the make all the money, 'cause I'm going into nonprofit. And I remember, because I did my master's in nonprofit management, and I just remember trying to I did my let's back up. I did my bachelor's in psychology, and I was like, what's next? And then they had a program that started for your master's in nonprofit, but there were so many other programs that I could continue in psychology and so forth. And I didn't know what direction it is. Finally, I just said, I'm gonna follow my heart versus the money. You know what I mean? And I've been here ever since. And I'm so grateful that everything has been provided for on this journey by doing that, just following my heart, and everything, will go. And I'll say that to any viewers that's tuning in, if you're on this nonprofit journey and you probably started out the same way we did, like, yeah, as far as the finance, but just it's something special about being able to follow your heart, that fulfillment, that everything else provides itself and everyone else sees how passionate you are about it. And something else I wanted to bring up, because sometimes when people, I want to talk about really quickly, and then we're going to talk about that grant that you won. The difference between a nonprofit and a for-profit for some of our viewers is, just remember that as a nonprofit, the big one of it, there's multiple differences, but this is the one that I just want to make sure that, because I get questions on this. The difference between a nonprofit and a for-profit is the profit, so to speak, that the nonprofit gets goes right back into the mission of the organization. So that doesn't mean that you cannot pay staff to operate the program. You cannot have an administrator. The biggest difference is that profit does not go into an owner's pocket, but instead that profit goes right back into the mission and what you do. And that's something that I know comes up often for some people that's hesitant about entering the field or not. So that's one of those things that I just want to point out. So let's talk about your grant win. So I know we were talking before the call, and you were sharing how you wrote your grant and I'll let you tell that grant journey.
I just want to say, for anybody that's getting into the nonprofit sector, research, immerse yourself into your sector. I definitely paid for consultation, but outside of that consultation, I also educated myself. And so one of the things that my consultant said was getting on a local level and seeing what funds is available for your city. And the only way that I knew how that would look is by Googling, researching, going to the city hall and trying to make myself available for different things. And I ended up finding out about a grant that they have for nonprofits for if you're traveling with your youth for educational purposes. And so I set up my profile, I created the profile, and I didn't know anything about it because I'm not a grant writer per se, but I looked at the qualifications and I realized that first I met the qualifications. My nonprofit was organized and structured per the requirements that they needed. I just needed to supply them with the proper documentation. I made my first travel report. I put that together. I put together the basic schematics of what it would look like for the field trip, the meeting time, the uniform, the purpose of the field trip, where we will be going, all of those things that I've never really put together for myself, but it's good to have that experience for whoever will be taking on that role in my nonprofit. So once I put that award packet together, I submitted it, and maybe 2 days later, the person of the organization called me back and said I was awarded the full amount to cover the full expenses for that trip. So I am beyond excited to be able to take 20 kids to Tallahassee to teach them about art and how to interact with others outside of their community and their environment. And knowing that I've tapped into that allows me to be able to go back as my program further advances and establish that relationship, because throughout the whole process, I also developed that rapport with Miss Kelly, to be able to let her know, like, my program, this is what we're going to be doing. And I told her, like, be prepared to see me a lot. Like, this is not the last time that you will see me. You will see Subliminal Dreamz come across your desk multiple times, asking for funds for field trips, because I want to be involved in the community. So that was a very big win for me, because again, you know, financially, we don't want to be the one personally funding our nonprofit. So being able to get those grants and those sponsorships and different partnerships helps us to grow our cause and our mission a long way.
I love that you did that. You just stepped out. You were like, I'm gonna apply, and you went through that process and you won. I love it. I love it. And I do honestly believe, especially if you're new to starting a nonprofit, everyone should have that experience, in the sense of trying to complete your own application, kind of get a feel for it. Something that I've done within my organization, also help others do, is develop a grant boilerplate. So, and there's so many different names for it: grant boilerplate, master application, which is really just a place where all of those questions that you get a lot on your grant application. What's your sustainability plan? What's your marketing plan? Tell us about your programs. Those questions that you hear a lot, they're pretty much all in one place, in addition to the program logic model and things like that. So that way you can also engage others in becoming grant writers with you. And then even if you do decide to hire a grant writer, you have something, so they're not spending hours developing for you. Instead, you have something that you can pass over to them, so that they can go ahead and take that information to apply. So that is awesome. Congratulations on that. Make sure you post pictures and keep us posted on your journey with your trip and all of that.
Yes, ma'am.
And of course, if you need help along the way, go ahead and put that in the group. We're here to support one another. I'm gonna go over to the chat box really quick, because I see a lot happening over here. Miss Ann, I see you. I think you are loving. I see all those hearts and likes. So we have Michelle said Duval. All right. Ann said awesome. Congrats, sis. Keyshawn. Good morning, Keyshawn.
Good morning.
And then Ann said we need to connect. Please add me. Yes. So
yes. I'm looking for collaborations, man. I'm trying to grow this program. I'm trying to change the way Duval provide mental health resources to all of our families. I'm trying to develop my back to school program, which is the next grant that I told you I fell asleep on. Just really trying to get actively involved and to get our children engaged in meaningful activities and get them talking to seasoned therapists, so that way we can really break that link in between what's really the divide in our communities.
Yeah, awesome. Yep. So Ann's a therapist. Yep, she said, Orlando therapist, we got you. Definitely connect. I went ahead and tagged you in there so that you all can further the conversation. Yes, awesome. Yes, I love it. And I love when we support one another. That's one of the biggest things, and the goals of the group is to remember you're not in it alone. If sometimes you're like, man, I'm stuck, or hey, help, let me say where I need help, because just like I posted in the group, hey, if there's anyone in New York or New Jersey on our nonprofit side, we just got a contract to be able to provide services at no cost, and there's so many other additional components that might come about. It just depends on us finding the right youth organization. Go ahead and DM me so that we can connect, or if if it's not your organization, if you know someone, any type of connections that you all can do, let's continue to support each other on our journeys. That's what makes it a lot easier, so it's not an easy journey, but when you have such amazing nonprofit enthusiast, not to be lame, but you have to have such amazing nonprofit enthusiasts around you, just as passionate about you. It keeps you going, you know. So yes, definitely, y'all. Let's go ahead and connect with one another. So this month's theme, as you know, is marketing and public relations for organizations. So tell me, over the last year, what are some things in that area of marketing, public relations, being able to tell your story publicly that you've learned?
One of the things that I've learned with our brand and with nonprofit, I definitely want to say that this is something that I major learned, and I definitely emphasize with the nonprofit, being that we don't have physical, tangible products, that trademarking and copywriting of your brand as you're growing is very important. When you're establishing your social media platforms and your websites, and you're getting deep into your mission and your cause, and you're getting ready to start accepting money and you're generating your fundraisers, you want to make sure that your name, your mission, your cause, you can use it, because believe it or not, you're going on other trademark platforms and they have the right to stop you from using your brand if it doesn't comply with what they feel is a reasonable brand to promote on their website. I personally have been going back and forth with Meta over my intellectual property because it was hacked when I first started it. And because that person hacked it, I can't use Subliminal Dreamz as my brand on their platform. So I've been going back and forth with the trademark attorney. And once we get it officially trademarked, then Meta will release that restriction that they have on my brand. But for the most part, every other platform has been amazing. Google has amazing resources for nonprofit organizations. They allow you to advertise for free. They give you your workspace for free. They allow you to promote your events and everything that you have going on. Because we all know, even though Google may not be the most reliable tool, everybody uses Google. Everybody goes to Google nonprofit resources, community camps, or anything that's related. So if you set your Google account up the appropriate way and you set it up to record your analytics and you get that feedback, it allows you to appropriately go in and post the right way. So you get that feedback. It allows you to configure your website so that way when people are looking for you, everything meets up. I can definitely tell you the frustrating thing is trying to reach out to another business owner, looking for them through Google, and like something isn't working. Like the website doesn't work, the email doesn't match up, the phone number doesn't connect. Like those are important things because we're telling the community we have a resource and they're going to look for that resource. So if a link isn't working, 9 times out of 10, they're going to feel like something isn't effectively set up within our organization. So for me, the marketing and the media was like crucial, like very crucial to setting up your brand as a nonprofit. Because if you do it inappropriately, it's going to cost you. Like it can become costly. Like I think it was $125 with Instagram, with something that was inappropriately set up with trying to run an ad and the name was not right. So to get them to fix it, because I didn't want another organization to get credit for what it was that I was trying to do. So like you have to pay attention to like how you set your brand up in the beginning and setting it up on your platforms and stuff.
Wow. For your first year, you sure learned. What a way to learn about branding and marketing.
Meta had me in tears because again, their platform is very big, especially with their Giving Tuesdays and being able to set up fundraisers and getting people to really get into your mission. So when they said, no, you can't use your page, we can't let you set up Subliminal Dreamz, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I own it. Wow. And like sending all this stuff in, but initially because that person hacked it and then turned around and tried to use that brand, I can totally understand. It just wasn't until I got with that trademark attorney where he was like, you have to get it trademarked. So then that way you can let them know that you're in the same ranking as them, but because it's their platform, they have the right to do that. And, you know, most people don't, I know for me, most people don't think to interact with social media that way, but social media to me is different because I have the brand that I'm trying to represent. So it's not just about posting a picture or, you know, being fun. It's like I have a real brand that I'm trying to represent on these platforms, and they make you jump through hurdles to represent that brand on their platform.
Wow. I love that you brought up the Google Workspace and Google Ads grants that's available for nonprofits, because many don't know about it. So what I did is dropped in the chat box our free resource and low cost resources for nonprofit guide. And in there, you'll see the Google resource. You'll see other resources such as Canva being free for nonprofits. And that might be alive in itself. Is kind of going over some of those resources that's available. YouTube for nonprofits, Google Ads is on there. Microsoft, I don't know if y'all knew this, Microsoft for nonprofits, meaning you get Microsoft licenses to access, those Excel, the PowerPoint, all of that is free for nonprofits. And that also is on there. LinkedIn for nonprofits. Calendly offers a discount to nonprofits. That's why we say free and low cost options. I love PDF if you don't have Adobe. So there are some of those things you'll be able to, if you click on the link, find. FlipSnap offers a discount. Check those out. Ways to say thank you to your donors. And if there's any resources that you came across that we don't have on there, please go ahead, drop that in the chat and we can update that. Our goal is to have one spot where it's easy for us to go and kind of take a look at those free resources available. So go ahead and drop those in to the chat if you have any free resources that's not there.
Did you say Canva?
Yeah, Canva Pro.
So Canva, I found out about Canva about a month or two ago, and I registered my nonprofit. And once you go through the steps, they open up their whole platform completely free. Love it.
Yep. And I think you get up to about 5 members of your team. So not even just you. Yep. Then others on your team can also get access as well.
Printing my business cards, my flyers, anything related to my business has been like a breeze. So Canva is the GOAT for that.
And I'm gonna tell you all this, and you probably know this, Shontae. So another thing with Canva that I learned, so yes, like if you need to print as well, they now work with local FedEx centers where you don't have to wait for the delivery like you used to before. You can go, and sometimes I'll order something tonight and then they'll be there, like they'll say, all right, come pick it up. So if you run in a crunch with your events, so we know we all get there, Canva now does that where you can print and then pick it up at your local FedEx so that wait is turned down.
Love it.
Yes. Yeah, I've used that. I had to call that in a couple times. I'm like,
they are the GOAT. I just had somebody message me and say, how long does it take Canva to print from FedEx? And I was like, same day, depending on the quantity and what you're getting ready to do.
Yep. So really quick, before we start to wrap up, I want to, let me go in the chat really quick. Shamal says, can you say ambition? You are right. Yes.
When you have a passion, you cannot sleep on it. It's not going to let you sleep.
Yep. That's so true. Yep. That is so true. I love it. So tell us how we can get in touch with you.
So I am everywhere. Like when I say everywhere, you can find me on MailChimp. I'm on Canva, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, like everywhere. And it's Subliminal Dreamz Incorporated, except for TikTok. I go by Baldy Han because I was bald at the time. But on my TikTok is mostly geared towards my business accountability group that I'm starting. Are You in My Bag? And it's basically helping businesses. Just because you start a business, you need to know about how to effectively run a business. But you can find me on Instagram as my primary business page where I run all of my events, and it's Subliminal Dreamz. Twitter is my second main page that I run all of my business events on, and it's Subliminal for Life. But if you type in Subliminal Dreamz, you should find me on all those platforms because I pay for the advertising. But I pay for that visual for people to be able to find me, so that way they see that I'm here and I'm relevant. I do a lot of different workshops. I do a lot of lives. I do Nonprofit with Tay on Tuesdays. So that way, just kind of helping other people that wants to know about my mission and have general questions about nonprofit that's in the Jacksonville area. I'm always looking to connect. My website is subliminaldreamz.org. And it also has all of the other ways that you can get in contact with me. Schedule a contact where we can link up, we can network, and talk about different business ideas, community activities. I do travel, so I'm not just centrally located to Jacksonville. I would love to connect with other nonprofits.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Once again, I just want to say a special thanks to our sponsor, Mr. Jalen Christie, who will be joining us this month. He'll be coming on a live, so make sure that you tune in and check him out. Also, I just want to give a few updates. Oh, if you are tuning in and you're interested in joining us on a live, go ahead and send me a DM so that we can get you in on, so we do have themes every month, so we will definitely find a theme that aligns with you and see how we can get you in. If you're interested in sponsoring, go ahead, send me a message, and let's do this. We are much better together. So we appreciate you all tuning in, and I will see you all next week on Nonprofit Enthusiast Live. Thank you once again, Shontae.
Thank you.
All right, bye everyone.
Have a good day.